Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Brendan Devon Cook, also known as Brendan the Bronze on certain social media platforms. Today, I'm going to talk about why I learned Spanish. So, in a previous video, I talked about how I learned Spanish, but really, I want to get into why I learned Spanish. And so, we just going to jump right into it, right? All right, so number one, my main thing for learning Spanish is that first of all, I felt like a call to do it, but mainly, well, I felt a call in a way to learn it, and also it was through exposure. So the two are kind of intertwined in a little bit. Like for example, the first time I remember consciously hearing Spanish, I was like 7 years old, and I was watching Static Shock. It was on Kids WB. I think Kids WB is now CW. They don't even have kids. WB ain't a thing no more. It's CW now. Okay, so this is how this is early 2000s, like 2002, literally, 20 years ago. So, and they had Static Shock, and one of the villains, it's a black dude who can control electricity, and is in some city, and all the kids, it was an explosion. They all got superpowers, stuff like that, right? And so one of the characters, she was a villain. Her name was Aqua Maria. It was this girl. She could turn into water, and she was like splashing stuff and robbing banks and all of that. And her character would speak in Spanish and English. She'd be like, "Oh, que burro eres. Oh, look how stupid you are." Or she, because obviously she's a villain, so she's supposed to, talk smack, right? Or she'll like attack everybody and then be like, "Quédate abajo, stay down." Like she would say it in Spanish and she would say it in English. And I remember that character was so freaking fascinating to me. Like it was just, I couldn't even explain it at the time, but honestly, I have forgotten about that, right? So I was seeing this, character, hearing this, bilingualism, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I had totally forgotten about it until recently when I was watching Static Shock again, just having a little nostalgic moment. And I saw the character again, and I felt that same moment I felt that same emotion that I felt as a kid, but, all this time later. So that was my first initial experience. And then from there, as I was explaining in the How I Learned Spanish video, I was around people who were bilingual. Either they themselves were bilingual, or their parents were, or grandparents, or something like that. So it was sort of like I'm in this community, I'm around these different friends, these different family friends, these different people. I kind of want to be a little more, in the mix, so to speak. And so that was kind of like a second motivation. So it was like one, just hearing Spanish, being fascinated at like it being a language that could be spoken, and then two, people speaking it in their everyday life. And then over time, I would say again, if you didn't watch the other video on how I learned Spanish, you can go ahead and watch that one. I have it in a little playlist. But I was explaining previously that in high school, that's when I started learning it in the class, and then from there I just was learning it independently and through TV and friends and journaling and stuff like that. But just honing in on the journaling tip, like having another language that like my family didn't speak, it gave me, as a teenager, it gave me kind of like my own world to be in. You know what I'm saying? So in particular moments and challenging moments and moments where it was just me or whatever was going on, or if nothing was going on, it was just my own little personal world that like nobody could really go into. You know what I'm saying? And like what better thing for a teenager, or really for, many people, is that privacy piece. You know what I'm saying? And in addition to that, when I did graduate high school and then when I moved into college, I was really starting to see Spanish as something much bigger. So I guess it was really something I did on my own and slightly with people that I knew, you know what I'm saying, like a couple neighborhood friends or stuff like that. But I didn't really feel like a sense of community or really kind of feel how big speaking Spanish or bilingualism was until I was in college. And I was enrolled in a Latino Studies course. And in that course, they were talking about how, like, the percentage of people in the United States who spoke Spanish. Like, in the class, I learned this is a big deal. Like, speaking Spanish is a big deal. Miami, Chicago, Detroit, all of California, New York, like, I mean, and just pockets of in the Midwest, in the South, like everywhere you go, as more and more time goes on, it's always been a relevant language. Because even if it's, 10 million people or 1 million or one person speaking a language, it's important. But just in the landscape of the United States, it's increasingly relevant and important and a part of just everybody's life. You know what I'm saying? Point blank, period. And so I remember they were just, citing the exact number of Spanish speakers, that there was in the country. And that was like a time, like I felt a sense of community. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I'm a part of that number. Hey, look at me. You know what I'm saying? I'm in that. And so that was just such a cool thing for me. And so that, of course, encouraged me to just, make it a integral part of my life to continue doing that. And then the next thing I would say was just knowing about, like, when they say, like, expanding your world, like, you got to think about anytime you've ever visited relatives, you know what I'm saying, that you never met before, or, just in a different state or city, country. You travel somewhere new, you go to a new school, you go to a new job, you meet new people, you try a new restaurant. It's just like, it's almost like you add another room to the apartment building that is your mind, right? Like, it's just another little box of just experience that you get, right? And so you can just multiply that by, like, so much more knowing another language and knowing Spanish, because there's Canada and US, and then almost everybody else, not everybody, but almost everybody else in, this hemisphere speaks Spanish or neighbors a Spanish speaking country. You know what I'm saying? And so it was just like the amount of, like, TV, movies, history. I really like history. I really like reading books. I really like, learning about the world, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got Black history, or whatever community you're a part of, your community has history, whether it's a religious history, racial, ethnic, whatever. And so being able to, like, I felt like I had a key to a whole another section of the world that otherwise I really would not have been able, I wouldn't have really known about. So those were my motivators, to keep learning Spanish and to make it a part of my life. So you can put in the comments below, you can share with me, what's the reason why you would want to learn Spanish? I know a lot of people cite for professional reasons, sometimes for interpersonal, aka if you friends with somebody, dating somebody, just around people that speak Spanish. But yeah, what are your reasons for learning Spanish? Because everybody has their reasons for everything we do in this life. So, and of course, you want to have some purpose behind it. Like, purpose is the gasoline for the vehicle that is your actions. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you so much for watching this video. And in the next video, in the Spanish series, I think I'm going to just talk more about my experience, but in Spanish. So if you're currently learning Spanish, if you just want to hear, can he really speak Spanish or not? We gonna see in the next video. You know what I'm saying? But however, if you can just follow this whole little stream, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, talk to you later.